Today we're going to continue talking about how to factor trinomials, but this time we're going to talk about how to factor when a is not equal to 1, or when there's a leading coefficient. Just to review, when we are factoring, we are trying to undo some multiplication. Okay, so again, our goal is to change a trinomial into a product of two binomials. So if we could get 2x squared plus 9x plus 10 into the form 2x plus 5 times x plus 2, we would be in pretty good shape. So, steps for doing this. You're going to call this AC split in all of your math classes at BHS. The reason we do that is because we need to remember to multiply a and c for the top of our x, and we need to remember to split it into 4 terms. So, steps are similar to the x method that we did, but this time, because there's a number out front here, we need to take our first number and our last number and multiply them before putting them in the top. The b, the middle number, still goes in the bottom. And once we have that set up, we're still trying to find two numbers that multiply to give us the top and add up to give us the bottom. After that, we need to write the polynomial out with 4 terms, so this is where the split comes in. So A, C, split the middle, and then we're going to factor by grouping. So again, 4 steps, just slightly different steps, and it'll take a little bit longer for you to do once you get your 2 numbers. Okay, so looking at this first problem here, we have 2a squared plus 13a plus 15. To be able to set up our x, instead of just putting our c on the top, we are going to multiply a times c. So a is 2, c is 15. So 2 times 15 is 30. And then the b, which is 13, goes on the bottom. So I need to find 2 numbers that multiply to give me 30 and add up to 13. And that would be 3 times 10. So 3 times 10 is 30. 3 plus 10 is 13. Okay, so the only thing that's changed there is that for the first, or the top number, I had to multiply the first and last numbers to get that 30. Okay, so that takes us through steps 1, 2, and 3. Now, AC split. A and C will stay the same. So I'm still going to have 2a squared there. And I'm still going to have a plus 15. But in the middle, I'm going to take that 13 and split it up into 2 terms. So 13a gets split up into 3a and 10a. Okay, so now that I have 4 terms there, I can go ahead and factor by grouping. So we are going to make 2 groups. First group, here. Second group, there, and go ahead and factor my GCFs out of each. So in the first group, I don't have a GCF for the coefficients, but I do have an a in common. So if I take an a out of that first group, I'm left with 2a plus 3. In the second group, I can divide 10 and 15 both by 5, but they don't both have a's, so I can't take an a out. So 10 divided by 5 is 2a, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. So think back to last week when we did this, and our goal was to make sure that these 2 groups match. If they do, we pull them out front, pull one out front. Okay, so if I do that, took care of those, I am left with a plus 5 for my second group. Okay, so this here is my factor form. Let's do a couple more. Okay, so next one. AC split. 3 times 1 on the top is 3. B on the bottom is negative 4. So I have negative 4 down there. So the only 2 numbers that multiply to give me 3 are 1 and 3. And then because that's a negative on the bottom, those are both negative. So once I have my x done, this is where the difference comes in. I need to keep my a and c the same and split my b in the middle. So I'm going to have 3n squared minus 1n minus 3n squared minus 1n minus 3n plus 1. I'm going to go ahead and make two groups. So my first group is there, second group is there. In the first group, I only have an n in common. So if I take an n out, I'm left with 3n minus 1. And in the second group, I can only divide by 1, but I'm actually going to make it a negative 1 because you'll notice that I have that negative there in the front. I want to get rid of that. So negative 3 divided by negative 1 is positive 3. 1 divided by negative 1 is negative 1. Okay. You need to be really careful there with my signs. Most common mistake that I see is students forget to make this a minus 1 when they pull it out, and they just change their signs. So two groups in parentheses match. I'm going to pull that out front, so those are gone, and I'm left with n minus 1. Okay. Next problem. 3x squared plus 22x plus 7. A times c on the top is 21. B on the bottom is 22. So finding factors of 21 that add up to 22, a lot of times students forget 1 and the number. So 1 times 21 is 21. 1 plus 21 is 22. So I'm going to go ahead and write this out in 4 terms. So A stays the same, C stays the same, B gets split. So 3x squared plus 1x plus 22x plus 7. So notice I wrote the wrong thing there. Let's fix that. Notice that once I change it to 21, because those are the numbers on the sides, 1 and 21 add up to give me that middle term, that 22x. Okay, make your two groups. Make your two groups. I can only take an x out of the first group, so I'm left with 3x plus 1. And in the second group, I can divide both of those by 7. So 21 divided by 7 is 3, so my x. 7 divided by 7 is 1. Don't forget to put the 1 there. And then we are going to go ahead and make sure our two groups match. So since those two match, we can pull that out front. That goes away. And we have x plus 7 left over for the second group. Final answer there. Two more problems. Okay, 4x squared minus 5x minus 6. I'm going to multiply a times c, which is negative 24, and put b on the bottom. So negative 5. The factors of negative 24 that add up to 5, or negative 5, are 8 and negative 1. So 3 and negative 8. 3 times negative 8 is negative 24, and 3 plus negative 8 is negative 5. So A, C stayed the same, B gets split. So 4x squared plus 3x minus 8x minus 6. We're going to go ahead and make two groups there. So if we make two groups, I can take an x out of the first group, which leaves me with 4x plus 3. And in the second group, I can divide both of those by 2, and I'm actually going to make it a negative 2 because of this negative sign there. So negative 8 divided by negative 2 is positive 4, and negative 6 divided by negative 2 is positive 3. Notice my two groups match. Okay, so since this matches this, I'm going to bring that out front. Let's disappear. This and that make my second group, so x minus 2 in my second group, and that is my final answer. Last one, 4a squared plus 23a minus 6. A times c gives me negative 24 on the top. B is 23, so that goes on the bottom. So factors of negative 24 that add up to 23 are positive 24 and negative 1. So when I go ahead and do my AC split this time, A stays the same, C stays the same, split the middle. We have 4a squared plus 24a minus 1a minus 6. We're going to make our two groups. So if I make my two groups here. In the first group, 4 and 24, I can divide both of those by 4, and I can take an a out. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, and I took an a out, so I just have an a left. 24 divided by 4 is 6, and I took that a out. In the second group, the only thing I can divide by is 1, but again, I'm going to make it negative because this negative sign here. So negative 1 divided by negative 1 is positive 1, a, and negative 6 divided by negative 1 is positive 6. Okay, group here and group here, they're the same, so we're in good shape. Pull out that a plus 6, so those are gone. And then I have 4a and minus 1. So there is my factored form. Now, keep in mind that you can always check these by going back and foiling or using the box method to multiply them out. But that is how you use AC split. There are 4 guided practice problems for you to try. Again, hints for signs again, that we talked about last lesson. But 4 guided practice problems. And then tomorrow we're going to do more of this. So if you have any questions, raise your hand, let us know. Once you finish, let us check your guided practice and we'll give you your homework. Have a great day.